Hello and welcome back to another UCL Fantasy video. This week we're going to take a look at the Matchday 3 wildcard guide with everything that you need to know if you are potentially looking to activate the chip this week, as well as my draft if I was going to be using the wildcard chip this week. Now obviously I did use the wildcard in Matchday 2, so this isn't going to be my final team, but based on all the stats and everything we're going to look at in this video, obviously we will make a final 15 players that you can potentially take some ideas from if you are looking to use the chip. So as always, we have our updated fixture ticker, and we obviously get rid of Matchday 2 now, where Napoli had the best fixtures, and they've now been overtaken by Barcelona, who now have the best run of fixtures from Matchday 3 to Matchday 8. The only issue is with Barcelona is they are suffering with a lot of injuries right now, and we will have a full injury list in a couple of minutes within the video, but Barcelona definitely have a very, very nice run. They've got Olympiacos at home this week, would be expecting a couple of goals from those attackers and a potential clean sheet in there. Bruges isn't too easy in Matchday 4, but it's not too bad either. Obviously Chelsea in Matchday 5, and then a really nice run with Frankfurt, Slavia Prague and Copenhagen in Matchday 6, 7 and 8. Napoli still with a very nice run, only really Matchday 8 that you would have to worry about them, and obviously 2 home fixtures in their next 3 matches with a pretty poor PSV side in Matchday 3 as well, makes them a very nice option. For Chelsea, they've got Ajax, Karabag, Barcelona in Matchday 5 as well, Atalanta and then Paphos in Matchday 7, so again some really nice fixtures for Chelsea. And then obviously getting down a little bit more, Juventus are another one with some really nice fixtures. You are going to have to get past that Real Madrid fixture in Matchday 3 however, but after that a very nice run till the end with 3 home fixtures in those final 5 matches as well. Bayern still looking okay. I think you potentially could get away with not having a couple of Bayern players. I don't think Bruges is the easiest team in the world for Matchday 3, and then PSG away and Arsenal away is going to be very difficult for them. So I think Harry Kane at the minute seems untouchable. I feel like he's an absolute must-have, but I think you could probably get away with not having some Bayern players in the wild card for this week and looking to bring them back in Matchday 6. Feel free to pause the video as well if you want to take a look at the rest of the fixtures, but these are obviously our top 5 teams for fixtures from Matchday 3 until Matchday 8. Now obviously if you are loading up on these teams, we have got rid of our red and grey fixtures as well. Now I've been pretty top heavy on the limitless in Matchday 5 purely because of the difficult fixtures and a lot of the big teams playing against each other. So if you are going to go for players from these top 5 teams, it does look as though Matchday 5 is going to be the time that you want to use the limitless if you are using a wildcard this week, because you're going to have Barcelona players who play against Chelsea in Matchday 5. You don't really want to load up on Chelsea and load up on Barca and have them playing against each other in Matchday 5. Similar with Bayern Munich and Tottenham, obviously with difficult games as well. So I still think the limitless in Matchday 5 is going to be very, catered to quite a lot of strategies. So if you are maybe forced into using a wild card this week, the limitless in Matchday 5 is definitely looking like a promising one. But if you do feel as though you can work through that, maybe you're going to load up on Napoli, load up on Juventus, who have decent fixtures in Matchday 5. Obviously the later you can use that limitless, if you can save it for Matchday 8, it's going to be very ideal as well. So with that being said, this is my list of target teams for a wildcard this week. We have a long list as well. Again, mostly just looking at the teams that we were looking at there. So we've got Napoli again, Juventus again, Barca, Chelsea and Bayern, who I think are probably going to be your best 5 teams to look at. Bayern, I suppose not so much. A lot of their good fixtures come towards the end. I obviously just mentioned that as well. But even Spurs, Liverpool and PSG look pretty decent. PSG obviously get hit with the worst run in the tournament at the start based on just pure fixtures, but home fixtures against Bayern and Spurs, obviously a lot of their nice fixtures do come away from home. So if you are loading up on PSG, again their good fixtures are away and their bad fixtures are at home. Obviously still very capable of doing quite well in those games, the likes of Hakimi and stuff like that, but I wouldn't really be fully targeting those. I don't think they're going to be unreal picks, to be honest. And then down towards the bottom, I've got some more, shorter term picks who potentially don't have as good fixtures, for the entirety of the tournament, and that's going to be Inter Milan and Marseille. Now, Inter are, obviously very, very tough fixtures from matchday 5 onwards, but Union, SG and Kairat in matchday 3 and matchday 4 are way too good to pass up, and Inter have been flying as well, so you definitely want, one or two Inter players in your team for a wild card in matchday 3, and then, that's some transfers that you can book in. As much as that isn't ideal, booking transfers in for a couple of weeks down the line, you cannot go without Inter Milan players in the next 2 game weeks. And Marseille as well, who have started very, very nicely, have still a very nice run of fixtures with Sporting, Atalanta, Newcastle and Union SG. Not fantastic, Sporting, Atalanta and Newcastle are all good sides, but still a lot of potential for maybe one Marseille player to do quite well in those games. Now, as far as notable injuries go, this is the list that I have managed to find. The likes of Lamine Yamal had a bit of an injury scare and he was playing for Barcelona, which is ideal if you're like me and own Lamine Yamal, but we do still have a lot of key injuries to a lot of Barcelona players. The likes of Rafinha, goalkeeper Joan Garcia and Lewandowski are all going to be missing in matchday 3. As far as I know, Rafinha should be back for matchday 4. There was some potential talk of him being back for matchday 3, but it doesn't look likely with him not being in the squad over the weekend for Barcelona. Joan Garcia as well is still suffering from his injury, and Lewandowski picked up an injury between matchday 2 and matchday 3, which is going to see him out of matchday 3 and potentially matchday 4 as well. Serge Gnabry picked up a abductor injury and he is out of the Bayern Munich squad as well for this week's game, so he is going to be a doubt for matchday 3. Cole Palmer has been ruled out for 6 weeks, so he's going to be missing matchday 3 and matchday 4. And Enzo Fernandez as well was potentially going to be playing over the weekend for Chelsea, but did miss out on the squad in the end. I would imagine that he will be fit. Obviously keep up to date with my Twitter where I'll post all of the team news heading into the deadline, but I think Enzo Fernandez should be fine before the deadline, but that is just one to keep an eye on, and he obviously will be a doubt. Dembele is back in training for PSG, so he is potentially going to make it for the Champions League this week, but again, another potential doubt, another one that you are going to have to keep an eye on. Then we've got Thuram as well, who unfortunately is going to be missing out of matchday 3. He was a very popular player who done quite well in matchday 2, and he picked up an injury, which is going to see him out of matchday 3, but he should be back for matchday 4. Then we've got Trent and Carvajal, 2 players who were injured in matchday 2 as well, are both back in training, but still doubts ahead of the Champions League. In terms of goalkeeper rotation, I am not really changing too much from this. Obviously, the fixtures don't really change for these guys, so I think the goalkeeper rotation pretty much stays the same, and I do still think this is the best double up that you can get. 2 4.5 million goalkeepers, getting Chevalier, the PSG goalkeeper, for very, very cheap at 4.5 million, who rotates perfectly with Geronimo Rulli. And obviously we spoke about Marseille having nice fixtures. He is a very nice player to own from Marseille, and we do get a green fixture every match day from the both of these guys. So for me, I think this is the best goalkeeper rotation you can get, as the rotation that I've got in my team as well, and I don't really think it does get much better. If you do want to change things up though and go for a cheaper goalkeeper, you can go for Vanja Milinkovic-Savic from Napoli. Now, I have spoke about how I think it really has been up in the air who the number 1 goalkeeper will be for Napoli, but Milinkovic-Savic looks to have taken the jersey, and he has been the number 1 for the last 3 games for Napoli, starting in both Champions League games, and he is now starting in the league as well. Now, Napoli obviously have some of the best fixtures in the Champions League, second best overall, and a 4 million goalkeeper, is a very, very nice route into their defence, and some really nice fixtures, of course, that also pair nicely with Geronimo Rulli. Now, the only time they are going to be playing in the same day is matchday 5, so again, if you are using the Limitless in matchday 5, then that is going to be absolutely perfect, and you're not going to have to worry about that at all. But you also get that Napoli fixture against Karabag at home if you do only get one, chance at a goalkeeper there. Looking at our top ball recovery players so far as well, obviously take these stats with a pinch of salt. There has only been 2 matches so far, but these are our top recoverers, and you know, a lot of the time you are going to see some of the smaller teams have the players on this list. You know, you've got a lot of players from Union SG in here. You've got, you know, Bodo Glimt, Paphos and stuff like that, but there is some notable ones as well. Kieran Trippier, you know, Dean Hodgson's up there, Dan Burn, Gabriel, some nice options from nice defences as well. Now Hodgson obviously done fantastic against Kairat with a big haul and a double-digit haul. Trippier and Burn both from Newcastle, again a really nice run of fixtures, or at least, you know, for the next few match days. Newcastle defenders look like a decent pick, and then of course Gabriel, Arsenal, one of the best defences in the world. He's been doing quite well for his ball recoveries as well, so a couple of decent picks in there. Towards the bottom as well, you've also got Van de Ven and Vitinha. You know, Spurs have really nice fixtures. Vitinha's just a very solid UCL fantasy pick on penalties for PSG, and you know, a very good player for player of the match as well. He does often get that, or at least he did last season. So a lot of nice picks. There is some, you know, the likes of Paredes at 23, way ahead of the pack. He's only 4 million, which is a nice route, if you like, a nice enabler if you are looking to go there. Everyone on this list as well is a defender, apart from Vitinha and Barrenetxea from Benfica. So if you are looking for a cheap midfielder who is just going to pick up ball recoveries, he looks like a pretty decent one. But again, it's not overly reliable because there has only been 2 games so far. Looking at some of the best attacks and the worst defences as well in terms of expected goals. Obviously it has only been 2 games again, so you have to take these stats with a pinch of salt, because when you look at the best attacks, Real Madrid is right at the top, Sporting is right up there as well, and both of those, you know, teams are the 2 teams that have played against Kairat, who are the worst defence in the tournament so far as well. So you are going to see big swings. You know, Paphos are probably going to be right up there as well after this match against Kairat in match day 3. You know, so it does feel as though, you know, you can't really get a full scope into who the best attacks are overall, because that Kairat Almaty fixture does hold a lot of weight. But as, you know, still decent enough. You know, you can obviously take some sort of information from this. You know, the likes of Slavia Prague, one of the worst defences so far, conceding 6.5 expected goals in the opening 2 matches. They're playing against Atalanta, so if you do want to potentially go for Adamola Lookman, that is an option there. Obviously Paphos and Kairat playing against each other does feel like a waste. It's obviously a big opportunity missed if you are going to be wildcarding this week, because you can't target those 2 fixtures. They are the 2 target teams, and they're playing against each other, which isn't too ideal. Frankfurt have conceded a lot of goals as well, both times in matchday 1 and matchday 2. The Frankfurt game has had a lot of goals in it, so a Liverpool attacker could be one to look out for this week as well, who are of course playing against them. Galatasaray play against Bodo Glimt as well. I do have a Galatasaray enabler in my final wildcard draft, so make sure to keep an eye out on that one. And then Inter Milan as well. You know, they're playing against Union SG, one of the worst defences so far, and they are one of the best attacks, in the tournament so far as well. Now, obviously, with Thuram out injured, it's not really ideal, but Lautaro Martinez is still there, Çalhanoğlu is still there, 2 really nice routes into the attack, but also Dumfries and DeMarco are 2 brilliant options if you want to pick a defender as well. So this is how my wildcard draft would be looking if I was going to use it in matchday 3, and there is some evident absences in the squad as well. Now, instead of using the normal graphic, I am going to just use the website for this one, because I feel like it's a lot easier to try and explain things. Now, the main absence is of course going to be Kylian Mbappe, who isn't in this squad. Now, my reasoning for this is because I'm finding it extremely difficult to try and field a good team having the premium 3 strikers with Kane, Haaland and Mbappe. Now, looking at Kane's fixtures, if you can just see them, we've got Bruges, PSG, Arsenal, then Sporting, USG and PSV are in there as well, which you can't just see in that screen. But Harry Kane's in the form of his life right now. He's someone that I just can't not have in this team. I guess you could say the same for Mbappe, but his fixtures are a lot worse. we've also got Erling Haaland in there, again another player who doesn't even have bad fixtures. Villarreal, Dortmund, Leverkusen, all the way up until the end, has fantastic fixtures. Now, the only thing with Kylian Mbappe is that his fixtures just aren't as nice, for the majority of the rest of the league stage. Juventus, he easily could do something in this game, but it's not the best fixture ever. The same with Liverpool away from home. Matchday 5, again, if you are going to be using a limitless, which I would recommend on a wild card in Matchday 3, then you don't have to worry about this Olympiacos fixture. And then it's Man City in that game in Matchday 6. So he's definitely someone you want for Matchday 7 onwards. He's got Monaco here at home, and then after that it's Benfica away, which is just off the screen. But for these 3 fixtures, Juventus, Liverpool and Man City, I just think you can use the money better. Mbappe probably will score maybe 1 or 2 in those games, but I just think you can use the money better, elsewhere. And the guy I went for instead is going to be Guirassy. Now, he has Copenhagen, which is a really nice fixture for him. Now, he's obviously done well in Matchday 1 and 2 with an assist and a goal in Matchday 2. Copenhagen's great for him. Obviously a difficult one against Manchester City in Matchday 4. Then you're looking at Villarreal in Matchday 5, and Bodo Glimt in Matchday 6. And then it's Spurs away and Inter at home. So he's not got a good last 2 fixtures. So at that point, you could look at potentially bringing Kylian Mbappe back. But I think for right now, saving that money is going to be better to go for, a cheaper option in striker. If you don't like Guirassy, you can go for someone else. I just don't think it's going to be worth going for that premium 3 if you are in a wild card, of course, this week. Now, I've used the money, of course, to go for someone like Lamine Yamal. Now, he is marked as injured, but he was playing over the weekend, so he's going to be absolutely fine, and their fixtures are just so nice, and he's got the capabilities of picking up massive hauls, and he's not someone that I'd want to be missing out on, especially with the lack of other Barca attackers. He's obviously going to be the main focal point, and if Barca are going to put a few past Olympiacos, I would really expect him to be at the centre of most of it. I do have Elise in here as well. He's not my favourite option, I'm going to be honest, but historically has just been a fantastic UCL fantasy option. I think at some point you are going to want him back. Obviously really capable of doing something in any game. Obviously these 2 are the main difficult fixtures for Bayern throughout this run. After that, it's great fixtures, so it's just trying to get through these 2. And again, Elise is one of those players that is capable of doing something in every game. So again, he's another optional pick. You don't have to pick him. You can go for someone cheaper like a Gordon if you want, or you can just go a lot cheaper and then upgrade to Mbappe if you really don't want to miss out on him. But I've gone for Elise for myself right now. Then in 5 million, I've went for Yilmaz from Galatasaray. He's going to be my enabler choice, and I just think he's a really good enabler option. He picked up a penalty assist against Liverpool. He can play anywhere, usually plays as the winger for Galatasaray, but obviously with Osimhen injured previously, he was playing as the striker. It's not going to be a thing unless Osimhen gets injured again, but his fixtures are fantastic. Bodo Glimt, Ajax, Union SG, Monaco, very nice fixtures for a 5 million enabler attacker who can play all across the front line. I just think he's probably the best option you can get for 5 million going forwards. Kenny Yildiz as well, don't really need to speak too much on him. Again, we spoke about Juventus having great fixtures past this Real Madrid game. For his value, he's just fantastic. I feel like he easily should have been 8 million plus this year. Is definitely someone that I'd want to have. And then we've got Enzo Fernandez as well. Chelsea cover. Again, Chelsea have some of the best fixtures in the tournament. Cole Palmer out injured for 6 weeks means he is going to be the penalty taker. Very cheap with very nice fixtures. And again, pretty much a no-brainer. Now, in at defence, I've got the double Napoli defence. I went for Di Lorenzo, who again, historically, has been a fantastic option in UCL Fantasy. Obviously, hasn't got off to a great start with a red card in Matchday 1, but I really expect him to make up for that in the upcoming game weeks. Very capable of goals, very capable of assists, and nailed in that team as well. And a very good pick for Napoli, who have the second best fixtures overall. Paired up with Milinkovic-Savic, I do prefer Chevalier. Obviously, I did mention it with the goalkeeper rotation. I think Chevalier is the better option, but I've went for Milinkovic-Savic because he frees up the budget. I think if the budget's not a problem for you and you can use that extra 0.5, then Chevalier is the guy to go for. But with this team, I needed that budget, so I have went for Milinkovic-Savic to pair with Rulli. I've got the double inter defence in Dumfries and DeMarco. No brainer for me, really. You know, DeMarco's minutes have massively improved since last season. He, again, another one who has been historically fantastic pick in UCL fantasy. Last year, not so much under Inzaghi when he was getting subbed quite early. His minutes have been a lot better, and attack and returns, he's always been, in my opinion, better than Dumfries. I said that for matchday 2 and picked him in my own team, and then Dumfries scored, so that wasn't ideal. But he's a little bit cheaper as well, and I think both of them are just fantastic options. Then we've got Burn as well at 4.5. Newcastle have great fixtures for the next few. You know, Benfica and Athletic Bilbao both at home in matchday 3 and 4. And then pretty, you know, not even bad fixtures against Marseille, Leverkusen and PSV. And of course Dan Burn looking like a ball recovery magnet in the first 2 games. And then finally wrapping things up with Yuri and Timber. I did have Gabriel, again needed the 0.5 million, so Timber is that option. A little bit of a minutes risk, I think, but you know, definitely the best attacking Arsenal defender in FPL in the Premier League. He's been fantastic, and I think he's a really nice option and a very good value pick at 5 million to cover off the Arsenal defence. So that's going to be the team for the wildcard. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like. Let me know if you are going to be using the wildcard as well. We will of course have a Limitless video out soon, and of course my team selection and the deadline stream on Tuesday, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.